In this tutorial video, we're going to set up a native product data source. To begin, simply click on the Products menu and select Setup Product Sources. Now here we can see our currently linked databases. The one with the little brown icon coloration here is a native database, whereas the two with the green icons are external. Let's go ahead and create the new native database. So let's click on the New button. Because we're working with a native database, the database type is QuoteWerks. Now in the Standard Edition, this is your only option, whereas the Professional and Corporate Editions, you do have a list of other external database types that you can select from. Again, select QuoteWerks and go Next. Now on this screen, we have two options. We can link to an existing QuoteWerks native database, meaning, for example, if you have sent a database file over to a remote installation, like a laptop, and you just simply want to link to that data source, we will select this option, click on this button, and it takes us right to our QuoteWerks directory, and we can locate that MDB file that we want to link to, and then click on Open. But for this example, again, we'll just select the Create New QuoteWerks Native Database. Now we'll select Next. Now this screen, we have two checkboxes. The first is Show All Products and Services when product source is selected. Now if you may or may not want to check this, this will actually load every single product source in the database when the data source is selected. So if you have a few products, you may not notice anything. However, if you have several thousands of products, this may take a moment to load. So you may want to consider this option. You can always go back and edit it also. The Auto-Generate Dynamic Manufacturers folder, if you like, QuoteWerks can create this folder in the database. It will separate all of your items by manufacturer. You can enable or disable this option. This option is also discussed in video 13, dynamic and static folders. Next we'll click Finish. So now we're going to enter a vendor name for our product database. For this example, we're just going to call it our vendor. Now typically we do recommend that you name your vendor database name by the vendor that you're purchasing the products from. You can use spaces in the name. We just do recommend that you not use any odd characters like exclamations, marks, and pound signs and things like that. But you can have a space. So then we'll click on OK. Now the next screen is where we actually create the file name for the actual database file. Here is our currently linked database, and you can see that it's products.mdb. .mdb is the file extension that QuoteWerks native databases get when you create them. This is a little different in the corporate edition if you've rehosted a SQL. However, the process is still similar. Anyhow, we'll just go ahead and take the default that QuoteWerks decides to pick for our database file name, and we'll select OK. So now you can see our new database. So let's see what it looks like. So we'll just simply click on the Products button this time. And here we can see our new database. And here's the Dynamic Manufacturers folder. And at this point, if we like, we can begin to add new products. Or now that we have the container, we can set up our folder structure. And if we like, we can import products into this existing database. But now that we've seen that, let's go ahead and remove the database. Let's say we no longer have a need for it. So we'll close the product lookup window. We'll go back to the Products menu, set up product sources. Now we'll select the database that we just created, and we can either right-click or just highlight the database and select remove. Are you sure that you want to remove our vendor database link? Yes. Now this option here that you're seeing now, this will give you two options. If you type the word delete, and it is case sensitive, it will physically delete the database. It will no longer exist. However, if you do not type it, it will leave the database file in the QuoteWerks directory, and you can access it or relink to it at a later time. But we'll just go ahead and just delete. And now you see that it's gone. And that is how we create a new native product data source in QuoteWerks, and how we also unlink and delete the database.